My mind is going a million miles an hour. This is the problem. So it's... Hi there and welcome back to the channel. Today I've assembled a glorious quartet of Twingos. What are you doing here? It's French Twingo Day. It's not BMW Day. Go back to the garage. Go back.
1 minute, 37 seconds later.
Hi there and welcome back to the channel. Today I've assembled a quartet of beautiful little Twingos, from a Mark 1 1995 to a 2002 Initial, a Twingo GT from 2008 and a 2011 RS Twingo. So we'll start with a 1995 Mark 1 Twingo called Pepe. We'll then move on to Twiglet, the 2002 Twingo Initial, which is mine. And then we'll move on to the Mark 2s. So let's go and have a look at Pepe. So this is Pepe. It's a 1995 Twingo, 55 brake horsepower, owned by Mike.
Hello.
And I helped Mike actually go collect Pepe from down near Bideford last year, June last year. It's an early spec Twingo. Sounds like a little Renault 5 whizzing along. It's had quite a bit of work done to him as well, and he's under sealed to death underneath, so he's not going to rot anytime soon. He's got one or two cosmetic issues, but he's an absolute glorious little car. He hasn't got the panoramic roof, which is did happen on some of these cars, and this little car came from Spain. He had two owners previous to Mike, and the previous owners had him for close to 30 years. So let's have a look inside the interior and see what makes a Mark 1 Twingo, an early one, a Mark 1 Twingo. That'll do. So what makes a Mark 1 Twingo a Mark 1 Twingo? It has got to be the happy little face on this car. It is one of the most cheery little faces. If you're into German cars, you may not get this, and that's absolutely fine. This is basically French design at its best. So let's have a look inside him and see what he looks like. Oh look, there's actually somebody here. He's half asleep. I think Mike's having a nap. I've taken so many takes, it's unbelievable. So that's one of the wonderful things about the Twingos, Mark 1 Twingos, is that you can actually put the seats down and have a sleep. I have slept in that car on a beach in Scotland, so it works. Oh. You're right there. So that's being kept in. Okay. So look at this little profile. This car was a city car that was happy on the motorway, as well as actually around Paris in doing battle with Renault 5s around the Champs-Élysées. This particular car has got the electric pack in it. The very first ones didn't. It was a sunroof or nothing. And it's quite basic inside, but it's amazing how comfortable they are and how much fun they are to drive. So this one here has got Sin Plomo, because it's come from Spain. And also, yes, it's been to Simply French and been seen at Simply French. The bodywork on this car is absolutely gorgeous. It's really, really good. It's a testament to its previous owners who kept him garaged and looked after him really well. On the back here, it's really simple. Little Twingo logo, Renault on the side. It's just a triumph of simplistic design, absolutely simplistic design. This in the UK had to have a fog light grafted into the bumper, which is a little bit ugly. I have done something different on Twiglet, and it's actually combined in with the clusters. It's just amazing how timeless this design has been. It's based upon the Renault 5 mechanicals, and it was just designed to be as cheap and as cheerful as possible, and Renault absolutely nailed it. Patrick Lecommont's designs have literally stood the test of time. So let's have a look inside and see what makes a Mark 1 Twingo so lovely. Okay, so what makes a Mark 1 Twingo so desirable and lovely? It's just the interior. They always came in left-hand drive. There was never a right-hand drive option. They're only sold in Europe and a few other countries in there. The seats are absolutely stunning to work. They're lovely and comfy. You can do many, many, many miles on these. The design, Patrick Lecompte's design, is just so simplistic. Okay, the plastics aren't exactly the best, but they've survived. This car is, what, coming up to 30 years old? And all the plastics are fantastic. This particular car is the electric pack, so it's the first time they actually had any sort of electric windows in there. Very early version of that one. The seating is absolutely amazing. You can turn it into a bed. And I have actually slept on a beach in Ayr in Scotland with my dogs, and it was wonderful. You've got all of these funky, lovely little switches. They're absolutely glorious. Positive action on the indicators. It's just 1980s Renault. All of the idiot lights and all the indicator lights are here. The speedo is over there. You've got a golf ball hazard light there. This doesn't have aircon, and it's got an aftermarket radio. It's just a wonderful thing. The speakers are down here. 2 little speakers. I think I need to help Mike actually with those and replace the speakers for him. So yeah, it is absolutely so versatile. So versatile. The boot storage on a Mark 1 Twingo is very versatile. You can have 4 big 6 foot 192 centimetre people in the back, and they're absolutely comfortable. You've got bags of room. The boot space you can have just for shopping. You know, you can put your bags in there and it's just for shopping. But what you can do is, if I push that and push that forward, you get a bigger boot space. And if you put the back seats down, you've got a minivan. And you can even take the entire bench seat out, and it's an even bigger van. And there were van variants of these cars. So yeah, it's just such an easy car to live with. This particular car hasn't got a panoramic roof, and I know that's an incredibly desirable thing. However, it doesn't detract from the car itself. So Pepe here, you can whiz along and you don't have the wind in your hair unless you put your head out the side window, but actually it doesn't detract from a Mark 1 Twingo. Yes, they are very desirable. Everybody wants them. Not having the soft top panoramic roof on a Mark 1 Twingo isn't a deal breaker. It will actually be a perfectly fine little car. You can see the stampings here to give it rigidity, so it's not just one flat thing. So yes, Pepe is a wonderful little thing. The design is from the 1980s, the late 1980s, early 90s. It feels like a 90s car, even potentially an 80s car, but that doesn't detract from it. It's such a simplistic little car that has so much character. Go drive one. Go and try and test drive one. Go and buy one. You're never going to lose money on one of these. These are holding good value. These are also quite cheap to run cars. All the mechanicals are pretty easy to get hold of. Auto dock does a hell of a lot of stuff. You can be a bit variable, but you can generally get what you want there. Pepe here had a radiator from Auto Dock, and I fitted it for Mike. So yeah, it's not going to be a great handling car. It does actually handle quite well, but it's not going to be a Golf GTI. It's not going to be a high-powered Seat or a BMW or a Merc. It's not going to be that. That's not what this car is about. This car is about cheeky, fun, cheerful, easy to run, easy to look after, far more character than the Nissan Micra, but actually the handling is about the same. So yeah, it's a very, very usable classic car. Let's move on to Twiglet and see what the difference is. So this is a 1995, Twiglet here is a 2002. Let's see what the differences are over those few years. Twiglet here is a 2002 Twingo Initial. This came out, I think, in 2000, this particular model. Basically, Renault threw as much of the parts bin at this, as well as putting a whole new interior into it. This particular one is in like a champagne colour. I purchased this in 2020, at the end of 2020, so I'm coming up to nearly 4 years of ownership. He was a pretty lackluster, down in the dumps, very scruffy little car, and I've had a lot of paintwork done on him and got him up to a really nice level. Let's have a look inside and see what the difference is in the interior. Wow, what a difference of this interior. It is a much more upmarket proposition than Pepe, than the early ones. Yes, has it lost a bit of its quirkiness? Not really. It's still got exactly the same footprint in terms of the layout. This particular car has got leather interior, so leather inserts, lovely, lovely, comfy chair-like seats. Yeah, okay, the steering was a bit worn, but that's also leather as well. I've had to clean up some of this early 2000s sticky gold paint, and I'll show you that on here. There was like a sticky gold paint, which even this is starting to go sticky. So I had to replace the door handles and do that, and that's something which happens with electronic devices and car interiors, where you get this paint they put on there like a tactile paint, and it goes all funny. This car's done about 105,000 miles. I am the third owner of this car. It's got some wear on a few of the components, but it's absolutely fine. So on the dash, they actually revised the dash. They made it much more modern. They put speakers in the doors. They put cubby holes in place here. And as you can see, you've got Initial Paris on here. And this car was used in Paris. It was bought in France by its first owner. The second owner was the husband, who had it for a while, and then I'm the third owner. So it used to shuttle between Paris and London quite a bit, and I've got all the history of that. Again, it's exactly the same layout. You've got a binnacle here for the instrument cluster. You've got the speedo up there. Here I've got the aircon option, so you lose the little tray, you just get that little sort of area here. Slightly different arrangement on the storage on the around the gear stick. It has exactly the same interior. You can turn this all into a bed, and I did actually have it as a bed, and I'll quickly show you that. One of the best features of this car is its sliding glass roof. This is absolutely wonderful. It really is. It opens up the car beautifully. I'll just quickly turn on ignition and open this up. Once the sunroof is open, it actually works really well. You've got this deflector here, which actually stops the wind coming in, and that actually rises up there. This got a little bit gummed up when I first got it, but it's finally freed up. You've got a fantastic wind in the hair motoring. Well, that's not my problem because I don't have hair on my head. And yeah, you get such a lovely interior in these Initials. This particular car, when I got it, I knew I was going to do a restoration on it, so I've actually replaced all the mechanicals underneath. It's had all new brake lines, it's had new suspension, new dampers, new track rod ends, anti-roll bars, all sorts. Subframe's been cleaned up. There was no rust, I just simply needed a bit of oil on it. The engine's still original. It's had a full service, water pump, timing belt, clutch. The whole lot's been done on this car. So there's very, very little that goes wrong, except I've noticed today when I actually unlock the car, the lights don't flash, which I know exactly where that is, and there's one connector underneath the dash which I need to actually check for corrosion. I have had paint put on this car, so I actually had it all sorted out. There's still one or two dents. This car led a very, very hard life in London and Paris. It was dented all over, but it's had a good amount of paint. The bonnet has been completely sanded down and resprayed. This one has fog lights here. I've put yellow filters on because it's French. I just love that look. So yeah, it's This one's in a pretty good condition. It will be at Rustival along with Pepe here. We'll be at Rustival in September, I believe. So we'll be at the main parking. So please come and say hello to us if you see them. Let's move on to the Mark II Twingos before the rain gets to us. I do get a couple of comments and questions on my channel. Why the number plates? I have OCD, not mild OCD, but I originally had a Renault 511 TXE electronic, the talking Renault 11. And when that was sold and it went into the, I think it went into the Bewley Museum as an exhibit, and then it then came out and got sold privately. I actually bought the number plate R11 TXE, and that's on my motorbike. You might have seen that. Over the years, I've decided to actually get R4 TXE, Renault 4 TXE, R5 TXE. There was actually a Renault 5 TXE, an R6 TXE. There was an R8. Mike's got that number plate now as well. So that means when I look at it, the number plates, they all look very similar. Just my OCD. That's the reason. Nothing more. Like seeing different number plates, yeah, no. I wanted them all the same. So we're on to the Mark IIs. Okay. There's a lot of people who love the Mark 1s who think that the Mark II is rubbish. And I've had so many comments on my channel about this that I sort of need to set the record straight. Yes, aesthetically, these are absolutely gorgeous. They're wonderful. They're a design classic. I get that. I love it. I'm with you on that. However, they had to move on. These things don't crash well. If you've seen the Euro NCAP crashes, they're not particularly good. They weren't safe. That design was from the 1980s. So they had to change the designs and try to keep the aesthetic as much as they could and get it through Euro NCAP. And that's why we've got this design. And there's also the design of Patrick Lecompt's Megane in there, the early Meganes at the back. So when these came out, these were actually quite a popular car. They were in the motoring press quite a lot. This is the 1.2 turbo. There was the, I think it's the 65 brake horsepower 1.2. They're perfectly fine. They're good cooking grade cars. They're really reliable and cheap to run. The GT is the better one by far. This has got a 0 to 60 time of, I've actually got it down to about 8.2 seconds. The little turbo really sings in this car. I think it's 7 psi, something like that, turbo on it. So it's not a particularly high power turbo, but it really gives a lot of torque. Renault marketed these as having the the torque of a 1.6, the brake horsepower of a 1.4, and the economy of a 1.2. And they're not wrong. They're not wrong. These are quite nice to drive. They're also pretty reliable. As I said, this is all Clio mechanicals here. Same mechanicals as in the Clio, easy to look after, easy to do. There's a few minor things which are designed for the Twingo, but the engines are pretty much what was in the 1.2 TCE Clios, and same for the 1.6. Let's have a look inside. So the Mark II designs inside have got the same aesthetic as the Mark 1s. If you look there, you can see where the binnacle is, and you've got the speedo here. But they moved a lot of the instrument cluster up to the centre. Same sort of general design as the Mark 1 here. The seats are way more comfortable. The driving position is a lot better. They changed the profile of the top of this to meet Euro NCAP standards. It's got lots of electric things, windows, it's got aircon, automatic wipers, automatic headlights. Some of these had a digital HVAC system. This has just got a purely mechanical one. It's got Bluetooth. It is a very usable car. The one thing they didn't do was keep the bench seats, so you can't put these seats back and turn it into a bed. So time had moved on. They couldn't get it through the crashworthiness on that, so they had to get rid of that. Getting into the back is really easy. It's as simple as doing that. And you've got some 2 seats now. It's gone, rather than having a single bench seat, you've got 2 seats, and you can move these back and forward independently as much as you want. So you can actually You can have 3 people and that space here, so you can put that down and you can do that. So it's much more usable. You can also remove these just by removing the 2 nuts there and the 2 clips at the back, and it will come out and turn it into a minivan. So yeah, these are very economical. If you drive them at 55, 60, 65, they will return 45 MP, 50 mpg all day. With a turbo, it can really eat into the fuel, but this is a 120 mile an hour car. I don't want to say how I did that, I can tell you that, but on GPS it got to 119 mile an hour, which was perfectly good. The design at the back here is very reminiscent of things like the Mk1 with the big fat boot on the back. It's slightly frumpy back on this, which yes, I can understand some people didn't like that. And I when the Mk1 came out, the second generation Mk1s came out, I really didn't get that. But this is much more subtle, sort of the frumpy bum part. So let's have a look inside. Being attacked by a tree. So yeah, it's exactly the same as in the Mark 1 Twingos. You can move the seats back and forth. You just push that, and you can really get some space in here. Again, spare wheel under the boot, just the same as the Mark 1s. Slightly different interior in terms of it's got more loading space. These seats do not fold backwards. That's as far as that seat will go. So Renault did restrict that. I think there's a modification you can do that actually will do it and push it right back, but you've got no space up front. So let's just push that back. Those are the seats right back, and again you've got plenty of space for shopping and stuff like that. This one hasn't got a parcel shelf. I bought it without one. I need to find one. Again, it's very similar in design to the Mark 1. It really is. Generally the same footprint. Then we get on to the Mark 2 RS, the RenaultSport. And the biggest difference you'll see on this is that you've got the fatter skirts, you've got better tyres, you've got wider tyres, it's got a wider track as well. So the distance between either side is actually shorter on these cars, the GT, than the RS. So you've got all of these extra packs. The mirrors are slightly different. The Gordini versions have actually mirrors from a Clio. So yeah, it is pretty much similar, but it's got the 1.6 engine in, 133 brake horsepower. You have to wind these cars up. You don't get a huge amount of torque down below. You have to wind it up. The torque really comes in about 3.5, 4,000. Some people change up before that, and then they think that these cars are very slow. No, you have to rev them. Absolutely rev the hell out of them. But what you'll be rewarded with a pretty quick acceleration. The acceleration on this is about 8 seconds, 7.5 seconds. I think I've got about 7.5 seconds out of this thing. I'll try and find the video for that, and if not, I'll make a new one of that one. I recently did the 0 to 60 on that, and I got 8.19 seconds to 60 on the little GT. This is faster. There's a couple of videos out there of 2 of these racing. The RS slowly pulled away from the GT. That's how good the GT engine is. That little 1.2 is such a gorgeous engine. It won awards. So you've got 17-inch wheels. It originally came with Contact Sport Pilot 5s or whatever they were, which were awesome on this car. I remember I had one of these brand new. Back in the day, and it came with those tyres. They don't, I think, Contact Sport 5s. They just gripped. I'm now on to Toyo Proxies, which is my preferred tyre, T1Rs. This car has got about 104,000 miles on the clock. I've owned it now 5 years. 5 years, 2 days ago. So it was June the 12th or something like that. 2019 I bought this car, and I bought it for about £2,500. Now to get a good one of these you're looking at about 4. You can get them cheaper, but they're normally ragged to bits. And just like Citroen Saxos, Peugeot 205 GTIs, 206 GTIs, people rag the hell out of these, and that's what they were designed for. So not many are left. This has had a few issues and bits and pieces. It's new clutch, new timing belt, new suspension, slightly lower suspension on this one. So yeah, I do love the blue. I've had the Twingo Gordini range, which is pretty much the same car with a different interior. That particular car was tuned to 163 brake horsepower, and my friend Mark has got that, and he lives in Scotland. So yeah, these things are appreciating hugely. I really think that people should start thinking these as a future classic, because there's going to be so few left. They're either in a hedge backwards or completely ruined. This particular one, I really can't see myself selling it. It was my daily driver. This was the one which was used all the winter and stuff like that when I had my Gordini. But it's turned into the car which actually I'm probably going to keep for quite a long time. So I've done 5 years so far with it. I'm probably going to do another at least 5 years, maybe 10. The interior is pretty much the same. Let's go on the other side because I don't want to ding the door. So it's pretty much the same type of interior, just slightly updated. So the seats here are firmer. They've got firmer sides. Bolsters here are much more figure hugging. Pretty much the same type of dash. This one's got a more advanced radio. It's also got connectivity down there, just simple auxiliary connectivity. Pretty much the same type of thing. It's got a RenaultSport rev counter there. Same thing as the GT. So there's not much difference. This one doesn't have the two-tone. It's just a single tone. You get the RenaultSport decal on here. So yeah, these are really, really good. I can highly recommend them. Okay, there are faster cars out there. There's cars that you can handle better, but you have to pay a lot of money for that, for the money and for the reliability. And these have been reliable. Normal wear and tear, normal replacement stuff, but as long as you look after them, they will go on and on and on. Renault unreliability is a bit of a myth these days. It's not as bad as people think. It's about as average. These have got a higher pass rate on the MOTs than many other cars. I think I was reading somewhere it's like 30% more reliable than other brands. So yeah, they're not bad. As long as you look after them, they're fine. It's taken quite a bit of effort to get this lot here. So yeah, there's Mike down there. He's hiding. He's trying to get out the way. It's been a joy to see these. When myself and Mike put them together, we just went, this is the garage. This is the garage we would both have. If we could have all of them, we would have multiples of these. And I can highly recommend trying these out. These are fantastic little cars. The Mark 1s are gorgeous. I fully get that, and I love them. Don't discount the Mark 2s. If you haven't driven one, and you haven't taken one of, especially the RS, around some country roads, then you really don't understand it. This is basically a very good country road muncher. It really does. I took that out last night and I did some 60 times. It's got some great 60 times for a car of its size. It's got more performance than these two, but it's also still got some of the charm. And these are charmful. They've got their own character. They've got their own way of being. They're not trying to be these. And that's what I get. I struggle with people who say, oh, the Mark 1's the best thing ever. I fully get that. But the Mark 2s have got a different character, a different way of being. If you accept it and actually if you accept what they are, and they're not trying to be those things over there, then you'll understand these. Especially the GT. The GT is very, very surprising when you actually drive it. People who have borrowed my GTs or even bought them from me, I've sold 2 GTs to friends of mine, and they love them. They absolutely love them. They're a great little car. So don't discount the Mark 2s. That's my mission in life, is to try to get people to understand that the Mark 2s are not trying to be Mark 1s. They're their own car, their own character, especially the GT. The RenaultSport is gorgeous, it's lovely, but the GT, Find yourself a GT. They're not that expensive. I paid £1,200 for this only 3 weeks ago. And I've probably spent another £800 getting it up to where I want it to be. So yeah, go and find yourself a GT, rev it. For God's sake, rev the hell out of it. When you test drive it, you'll then start to see it. If you don't want to rev your car when you're driving and you just want to plod along, go and find a Nissan Micra. Go and find a Toyota Yaris or whatever. You know, that's fine. That's fine for you. But if you like to have a little bit of excitement, you want to rev it, just like you do with like Triumph Spitfires. If you give them a bit of a rev, they come to life. That's what you do with these cars. Thanks for watching. It's been a mission. Please like, share, and subscribe. I'm a small channel. I'm not funded. I have to do everything myself. And I appreciate any support you can give me from subscriptions. You will be seeing these two at Rustival. These two, that's my daily driver, that's coming off the road. I'm going to be doing some more work on that. So yeah, thanks for watching. Please like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Welcome back to the Twingo channel, and today I've assembled this gorgeous and today on the channel welcome back to the Twingo channel. And today on
Recording?
yeah, cool. My Twingo original spec. Mike has walked us along. I'm trying to. My mind is going a million miles an hour.
Yeah.
This is the 2.5. Yeah.
And then it's the Mark 2s. We've got GT and an RS.
Thank you, Doris.